everyone. Thanks for joining us in Digital Wealth Insider. Today we've got Gary Cardone. Gary, how are you doing, man?
Awesome, Mike. Appreciate being on the show.
Yeah, bull market's back, right?
It's coming back. I think, is this a bull market? I think this is the first time really Bitcoin has had a real fundamentally structurally sound foundation. I think this is the kind of bull market I can actually get behind because it doesn't have a bunch of noise that I can't understand and manage. I think to date, I think on January the 11th, 2024, Bitcoin went from being a teenager to a young adult, or better yet, best high school NFL quarterback on the team that nobody knows about, right? The team that those movies are made from, the rogue crew that came together. But this little NFL, this little farm league player is getting ready to go into the professional game, and I think it's pretty anti-fragile at this point. I think it's going to be the only teenager that makes it to the professional ball league and actually can compete at a level I don't think we've ever seen an opportunity like this. So it's really a unique opportunity for business, people that philosophical people that want to build constructs about the new future of business. There's so many angles on Bitcoin and what I call the digitization of planet Earth. It's just it's a very bullish time for the digitization of planet Earth. I think that's a fact.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Talk to me more about that. When you say it's growing up, like how do what makes you say that, right? Obviously, you're alluding to the ETF, but what are the consequences, in your mind of the ETF, and also like how does that, the adoption of Bitcoin from a public markets perspective, from your perspective, how does that impact the rest of the crypto markets and blockchain technology adoption in general?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. I think that is what I'm talking about. Like it's going through this maturation point, Bitcoin is. And I really go out of my way, Mike, to differentiate between crypto and Bitcoin. To me, they're very, very, very different industries, different product, different risk. So if I just think in the framework of Bitcoin, because I think they are really easy to confuse with all the other 10,000 tokens that get created out of thin air. Bitcoin's 15 years old. NVIDIA, just for a frame of reference, because I think a lot of your audience are legacy investors, right? They got a taste of the 20th century world, NVIDIA and Google. And NVIDIA's 25 years old, 10 years older than Bitcoin. NVIDIA in January had $250 billion stock move in their price one day, which does a couple of things. One, it wakes everybody up and says, wow, assets can move $250 billion in one day. Everyone's been saying that's impossible for Bitcoin. Well, NVIDIA did it just the other day. Okay. This is a hardware company. $2 trillion market cap, 25 years old. Bitcoin's 15 years old. It's a $1.3 trillion market cap. It doesn't have the centralized marketing program. It doesn't have a CEO like NVIDIA. It has no operation team. It has no consistent brochures or promotions. You got 3 or 4 different tribes in Bitcoin. They're all pitching some other reason that Bitcoin is great. It's the worst marketing program in the history of mankind because it's decentralized. See, this is a negative to decentralization. This is why centralization is an awesome and highly efficient method of doing business. The only problem is the guy that's at the very top of that centralized environment, he's the problem, not the concept of centralization. Like all chargeback disputes should be centralized. They shouldn't be all fragmented all over the place in 600 different chargeback companies and banks. They're all making fees. There's no centralization. Your wife keeps filing chargebacks, and one bank won't tell the other bank that, you got a criminal. Miss Klein's a total criminal, credit card refunder, because nobody will report Miss Klein. Oh, financial secrecy, can't AML, KYC. They just hide behind all this regulation. So if I was with Mark Yusko one day and we were talking about this, and he's a good Catholic boy from North Carolina, I said, "Hey man, if you and I have the same God, let's assume that our God is the same God, and He's running the centralized exchange. Are we going to care?" He's like, "Oh no." He really woke up too. It's not about centralization. It's about the guy. It's about the human era part of it.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, that's absolutely right. I think the original, argument against centralization in certain models, right, is moral hazard, right? So it's like, even if you trust the person that's in power today, you don't know who's going to be in power tomorrow. And
Correct.
there are just certain things that it's okay to exchange efficiency for that. I don't need to trust the guy at the top, to use your analogy. There's certain things that's an acceptable trade-off, and certain things where it really doesn't make sense, to your point.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you're right. It's the moral hazard is the piece where the human goes wrong, goes bad. Um, so that takes me to, like, when I look at Nvidia and I see some of these companies. Look, the markets are doing things that 100 analysts missed Nvidia. That's why I keep bringing it up. Well, I thought markets were efficient. I thought everybody knew everything about these public companies, and therefore there shouldn't be any guesswork. So I'm going to say to your audience, one, you have been misinformed as to the risk associated with Bitcoin. The unconventional nature of Bitcoin is a lie. Okay. This is actually the investment that everyone has been hunting for centuries. And it's so obvious they can't see it, because you have to be willing to look at all your other investments and take another look at them from a very different angle once you start looking at Bitcoin. For instance, I don't think anyone really understands supply that cannot be changed. In fact, I'm quite certain that the only unique, one of a kind, can't copy, can't duplicate it, can't replicate it, can't speed it up product in the world, or asset, the only asset that you and I have ever touched that is truly finite, we don't even value it. Okay. And it's you and me. We're the only things. Look at what humans do to each other. We're unique, immutable, usually immutable unless you watch too much TV, right? Unless you get programmed. You are, there's some problems with you though. You decay. You have a lifespan of 86 years. You get slower. Bitcoin has none of those. I could even, if you're my girlfriend, let's imagine this. Imagine having a girlfriend that never decays, never ages. Okay. You can loan her out to a bank and get yield on her, and she doesn't mind. And I can take a fragment off of her and sell it, and she doesn't mind. She never bitches, but she's a little volatile. Okay, that's her only problem. She's a little volatile. Well, first off, I like really interesting character in women, so I kind of like the volatility. But if you look at it and go, hey, yeah, but it's volatile, but it's up 600% or 90 million or whatever the percentage is over that time period, I think that a lot of people have been misinformed. You cannot speak about Bitcoin's volatility without also talking about the return. The return is phenomenal. Okay, so do I really mind a woman having a crazy moment once a month? If she's the best thing since sliced cheese, it's just part of the deal, right? So I actually think the volatility of Bitcoin is actually my favorite feature of it, and everyone else is terrified of it. So, and I'd love to go into that sometime. I'm not sure we can cover all the topics you want to cover and that one, but There's a reason I believe that this volatility is good because it allows me to continue investing over a period of time on a chart that I think has another 20 years of up and to the right, man, up and to the right. And it's an insurance policy for me. So this became a really easy decision for me once I was willing to learn what I do and don't think about markets and are they real or not real. Those things I think about markets, are they actually true? So it's been a really interesting journey for me. I think having gone through 25 years in the energy complex and then the payments industry, those industries really set me up well to ask the right questions in this industry. And it's really allowed my conviction to go well above. I think I'm more convicted than 99% of the people that have been here a lot longer than me because I don't have
I
any of
love
the
that.
noise.
Well, look, it's kind of, you hit the nail on the head, right? Volatility is always a negative word, but of course, volatility is also the flip side of that is if something can go up 30% a day, everybody loves that, but it also means it can go down 30% a day. And I think that, for me as a contrarian investor, I did 10 years in venture capital before I got into the liquid crypto markets. And you experience volatility behind the scenes with your early stage tech investments all the time. They're just not priced in real time.
No,
But
there's
you
no chart.
understand that, right? Exactly. There's no chart, right? So you don't feel the pain or the euphoria instantly, but it's there, right? You understand it's going. This is a tech investor, right? Like you'll have a call with the team. Maybe you're sitting on the board, and they'll say, "Oh man, I don't know if this thing's going to make it." And you're in your mind, you're writing that investment down, and then a month later, they say, "Hey, we just signed a big deal. It looks like we're gonna all make it," and you're writing that investment up in your mind. And the point is, are you invested in something that you think is highly probable to really outperform over the next 5 to 10 years? And I love that you brought up Nvidia because to me, NVIDIA was so obvious. They're making GPUs. They're the world leader in GPUs. The world's using more GPUs. Why wouldn't you be involved in the companies that are doing that, right? And it's like, well, when you're looking quarter to quarter, day to day for an investment thesis, of course that stuff doesn't stand out. But when you're thinking, where's the world going to be in 10 years? You're like, this company is going to be at the forefront of all the exciting things going on in the next 10 years.
Yeah, and where's all the growth coming from for them, right? It's coming from this industry,
That's right.
and people
Yeah,
aren't
people really
really fully
underestimate the
aware.
intersection. Yeah, I love that.
That's why I use the words "we are digitizing planet Earth." I think it's easier for people to understand. Oh, wow, really? And the analogies I use are: remember the 8-track tape player? See, like you're like, do I really remember that? Well, dude, I remember doing. I
I
remember
remember
Grand
it like
Funk.
you remember
Well,
it.
I always tell the story. Me and Grant, Tuesday morning, dude, 6:30, 7:30 in the morning, we're rolling a joint, driving to school, listening to Grand Funk in the old tape. And I was always worried about one of my knees getting busted on the tape machine, if you ran into a wreck and the tape would grind out. Now I have 50,000 songs on my telephone, dude. We are never going back to the 8-track tape. And this is the way I communicate with old legacy investors. Instead of shaming them and making them wrong, just use analogies like that. Going, hey, gosh, I'm probably never going to use an 8-track tape or use a album ever again. This is only going to get better because we have technology that allows us to compress massive amounts of video feeds. What we're doing right now is unheard of 10 years ago. And we were forced into this shit from this COVID-19 response. And you know what? We all survived. So, and we weren't ready. What these governments did to us, what they did to a guy like me, who's just a total animal entrepreneur. I love violent, like all these changes. This is awesome for me, man. I
Yeah,
can move. I'm nimble. I love change. Visa cannot move. Conoco is going to struggle. The Fed is going, governments, the dumbest people on the planet getting overpaid, they're not going to move either. The US government's legal system is going to break under the pressure of blockchain. Like, I'm going to say that again, okay? You guys are going to think I'm really stupid. The legal system right now is being absolutely, how poor and how old and out of date the security laws are. 1933, and they're sitting going, hey, is it a security? Is it a commodity? We are going to be in courts for years, dude. For years and years and years, we will be in court as to, well, can you self-custody? Is it legal? Is it legal for me to self-custody gold? Right? Like,
Yeah, man. You're
dude,
singing to the choir here.
listen, I
Singing to
just
the choir.
hired a political, I just hired a, I'm an investor trader, man. I just hired a political analyst to join my team. And then people are like, why'd you do that? I said, because the political side of this is going to be hugely important, man. Like, I'm beginning to, never done this before in my life, Mike. Bitcoin has brought me into two other industries that I would never have had on my list: politics and what was that? Politics and media. I had like, my brother's the camera guy. I'm not. I had no idea that Bitcoin, I think things are going on in media due to Bitcoin and decentralization that is more significant than what's happening in finance right now. Mainstream media is being obliterated as we talk to each other. And I encourage everyone with a camera, a voice, an idea, a penchant for anything, dude, open a podcast. Get on the camera, get on the microphone, and start talking about what you know about, because everyone that you've ever listened to in front of a camera, from CNN, Fox, CNBC, CNN, and any other of those fucking machines for the government, none of them have their own content. You have your own content. You invest in deals. You work your ass off. You meet people. Don Lemon has no content, dude. He is an interviewer, period. That's all he can tell you about. Well, let's see. I got on my knees for this guy, and I got on my knees for this guy, and I'm told, and I can read well. You and I have no teleprompter. For the audience, they sent me this list. We won't get to half of it because Mike's already figured out that list is done, dude. Not with this cat. We're not going to do the list. And this is an opportunity for you and I to help people, man. Like, really, really help people. So I'm being pulled into politics. I'm trying to raise money for a couple of them right now, under the concept of, hey, look, if we know these people are going to win, I need to go and start educating them on Bitcoin right now. And I think the politicians have been extremely, most poorly educated on Bitcoin. That like, these people need to understand what's going to be good for them. Hey, this is how you get votes. This is how you win long term. They don't need to know about blockchain and self-custody and we're going to take over the Fed. It's too much for a politician, man. You got to make this sexy. So I've literally never done any politics. I'm meeting with Vivek Monday, Luna, April the 13th. If any of you guys want to actually contribute and help me, like, make sure we get protected, like, reach out to me or reach out to Mike and we'll figure out how that works. But I am willing to spend some of my time and energy as an older guy. I don't need to be doing this, but I find it intellectually really exciting. And I think I have a way of communicating with these older people that it'll be easy for them to adopt. Because I'll never mention the word blockchain or seed phrases or self-custody or, hey, let's blow the Fed up. These were not cool messages. It's not a sellable. I'm not saying there's not some value to that, but you might want to, kick the door down. Like, let's kick the door down, but we're not going to have the sirens blowing down the road going, hey, by the way, we're coming to kick your door down. And that's what we've been doing, right? It's the same thing Biden's doing, poking everybody in the eyeballs, but he's trying to start something, right? Otherwise, why would you poke the bear in the face? Like, why would you do that? You're either incompetent or you're trying to start a war. In the
Yeah.
case of Bitcoin, I don't want to have war with Visa. I don't want to be at war with Fed. I want to help humanity. We don't have to fight all these battles at one time.
Well, I think this is one of the misconceptions people have about crypto and Bitcoin. And I think you did a great job of saying it's had one of the worst PR programs in the world, right? If you're interested in the asset class, you're going to get two narratives. One's gambling, and the other is this escape raft from fiat or government. And those are hard to swallow as an investment thesis. And obviously it's so much more than that, right? The reason it's so exciting, and you talked about this, is it's not just finance. It's just the next iteration of the internet and technology, which is ubiquitous across all sectors. So, it's disrupting everything across the board. And, people used to think of like internet companies as this separate island. And now every company is an internet company, right? Like there is no company that doesn't do e-commerce, that won't take your payment over the web, that doesn't have like a web funnel to get the attention, explain their product, and to move people through. In fact, companies are trying to get more and more streamlined that way and more built that way. And just in the way that something like e-commerce or the ability to constantly be connected in real time changed every sector, it's the same with blockchain technologies. It's changing every sector, like you mentioned, and people miss a lot of that because there's only a few use cases that are really talked about.
Yeah. Uh, I mean, everyone always underestimates the impact that technology will bring. I find it fascinating that the old guys are going, "Hey, you guys are underestimating this." Like, like I
Yeah.
am the most bullish human being I know on the whole complex, not just like price. Price is really less important to me. Um, and the reason that I think I'm more bullish is because I see one, it's had 15 years to mature. Like I know some people that are actually jealous of me that I've been able to come in the last 3 or 4 years and get a taste of this fast and not have to spend 12 years before. Right? I am an extremely timely human being. It's just frightening. The gods of commerce have been so nice to me, but I'm very open. I'm observant, very observant. I saw enough things going on. Like, whoa, this is really exciting. I also had the advantage of being in the payments industry where the collateral consequences, the damage, the leakage, friction, like it is so severe, man. Like it is obnoxious. How much fraud, fees, fines, little hidden things all over the place, $7 trillion fees that really are unnecessary. They don't impact you and me. They impact middle class and poor people. They never impact me really. But this thing now that Larry Fink's all over it, um, it's a better investment today than it was at $7 or 700 or 7,000. And I know that I can say that with great clarity because there is no chance of me putting 85% of my net worth into Bitcoin when it was $800, man. No chance. I mean, the guys that got super rich, they were able to buy $300,000 worth of Bitcoin. They have $100,000 worth of coins, 100,000 coins, right? That's come and gone. You're never going to be able to do that again. Funny enough, when all the coins were lost, they were lost in that price point. And I maintain that is a lesson that we should all learn. When you don't price something correctly, you don't value it. And when you don't value something correctly, you don't respect it. And when you don't respect it, you fucking lose it. And so those
I
4
love that.
million coins, there's nobody losing coins at $70,000, dude. You know why? Because people are going, I'm not going to self-custody all $10 million. It's 70 grand. No chance, dude. I'm not doing that. I'm not responsible enough for that. What if I have a coma? Okay, so that's the big loser. The wallet guy, which I think there's about 2% adoption from anyone using wallets. I don't think it's that big anyway. Um, but the ETF is making this a very, very, very easy way for people to own Bitcoin. Most of the people that are in the ETFs today, they don't even know they've been allocated Bitcoin, man, which is really bullish if they don't know they've even been allocated Bitcoin. But when they open their statement in April, and there's $200,000 that's been allocated in April, and now it's worth 650. I got a bunch of analysts running around saying, "Well, they're going to reallocate." I'm like, dude, if an investment advisor takes $200,000 of my money, it goes to 650 in 3 months, and he calls me for a reallocation, I'm going to fire him, because a real investor does not cut his winners. Like, that's just stupid. Okay, they are so maxed out on Nvidia and bonds and equity. They already have full allocation to everything else, man. Real estate up the ass. Okay, they got bonds, they got equities they don't even know they have. Okay, and now they're going to get this new little pristine thing that has no human error. It's a monopoly. It's a freaking monopoly by any definition you could possibly imagine. It has zero regulatory exposure as being a monopoly. Nowhere to send the letter. And it's finite. Like, there's no oil producer on the planet that can claim they have finite oil. At $300, dude, all the oil on the planet is going to show up tomorrow morning. So this is a really unique product, and when people figure it out, the price will not remain at 70. It won't even remain at 700. I mean, I have a lot of friends that spend $60 million on jets. 60 million, dude. About 1,000 Bitcoin. I'll take 1,000 of them. I'll take 1,000.
Yeah, I mean,
those buyers haven't shown up, dude.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's to your point. It's still a contrarian play, right? And I mean, of course, the more people that aren't aware of something or negative about something that has real fundamental value, the bigger the opportunity, right? By definition. And I want to ask you a little bit about that. You mentioned 3-4 years, so even just a year and a half ago, people were still having this conversation: is crypto, is Bitcoin, are the markets going to zero, right? What's it been like to be on that journey where you're kind of like, saying, hey, the armies are coming at the gates, like there's a new revolution coming and no one's believing you, and now where people are saying, oh, I wish I would have listened, and telling them, well, you better start listening now.
The journey has been watching the extremely poor marketing and PR. And I just want to keep saying that over and over, because here we are with the worst marketing program in the world. People going to prison for all kinds of crazy stuff. Dude, we're still at 70,000. We've done everything we could to wreck this train, and you can't wreck it. China has banned it 3 times. America's trying to be stupid over something they can't even control. The funny story behind all this is Elizabeth Warren and Gary Gensler cannot control Bitcoin. They can control the role that the United States plays with Bitcoin. I wish they would ban it, because my Bitcoin, my large position, would double overnight. It would just further validate, and people would laugh at these people. Prohibition has never worked.
Well, listen,
You're
I
not
don't
going
think
to
it's
stop this.
I don't think it's unpatriotic to say the world's a lot bigger than the U.S.
Oh,
right?
Totally, dude. We're only 12% of the market. We can't control this baby.
Right.
It's game over now. If you wanted to control this, it was 7 years ago, 8 years ago. It's a done deal now. Now, the wallet thing, I think the wallet thing is going to be a problem. I think it's going to be hard to defend that people can walk around with $10 billion in a wallet. They can't do that with cash, man. So if you want to go change all the rules, okay, try to move $100,000 on your person in gold through the United Kingdom of money. Okay, I'll buy you a flight, and you're going to get stopped, dude. There's no. So the Bitcoiners are like, hey, that's not fair. What do you mean it's not fair? You've already agreed to these fucking rules. You should have go look. I know they can't take my guns away. Okay, so that's cool. Supreme Court's holding up the guns. Do I have the right to self custody anything? I do not have to report the gold that's sitting over here in a vault. I have to report it when I sell it, right? So I have to report everything when I sell it over 10 grand. So like, there's so many arguments going on. It's like, dude, you're not going to win this argument. Come on. Well, Gary, it's my freedom. Well, you gave it up 100 years ago, dude. Like, this rule has been in place a long time. The $10,000 cash rule. People are arguing again. I'm like, this rule's been around forever, man. So you got to just get through this noise, man. The noise is like, we're still here at 70 and we still have all this noise. We have people walking around going, you're not a good Bitcoiner if you don't just do Bitcoin. It's a crate. All that changes this year. All that changes this year, man. This is going to be the biggest, most. Bitcoin has never seen this kind of money, dude. This is long term. This is long term money that's never going to look at the chart. They don't look at these charts like we do. You know, my brother's got a bunch of real estate, $1 billion worth of real estate. All his real estate's not beautiful today. Okay. I don't go look at the price of every one of my real estate holdings with him. First off, there's nothing to see. Oh, there's the building. This doesn't have a price to it because it's not liquid. It takes 6 to 9 months to sell one of these buildings, but I'm still getting my distributions. And as long as I'm getting my 8% distribution and I don't have a chart to look at, oh, wow, that property in Houston just got clipped 30%, I'm not going to sell it anyway. I can't even get out of the deal. It's a 10-year deal with him. Yet we look at Bitcoin. I'm investing for 5 years. Oh, the price went down 11% today. Why do you care, dude? Like, I hope it goes down 30% so I can buy some more. This gets me to my reason I think the volatility is good, is that I have an opportunity to buy over 18-month periods, reload, get a bunch of cash. See, I'm a Bitcoin miner. I'm going to tell you what the best Bitcoin mine. This is Gary Cardone's Bitcoin mining theory. Invest in real world assets that generate income and take that income that comes in fiat, like from my real estate, take that fiat, burn it, buy Bitcoin, and now I'm a Bitcoin miner. I use legacy assets, create fiat, take the fiat, sell it, buy Bitcoin, and hold on to Bitcoin and repeat the process. Why would I have exposure as a miner to the input cost of energy? I don't even own the energy. I got to go buy it from Exxon or the grid. I've got capital costs, data centers to run, people to run, blah, blah. Like, I got to make sure the prices, I got to worry about the halving. Shit, man. I got real estate, make some revenue, distributions, go off into Bitcoin and do it again. And I think you're going to get ready to see for the first time the polar opposite. The guys holding 100,000 Bitcoin at $3 who say they're never going to sell, they are absolutely going to sell. We're going to find out what the price is for them to move, but then they're not going to look at, oh, I'm selling for 200. No, you're selling for 200, and then you go buy a commercial real estate building for 30 cents on the dollar, dude. The 30 cents on the dollar, they're going to be like, whoa, that's cool, dude. That building in Chicago is never going away. So my hope is that, and part of my goal for being here is to look at some of the old players and go, look, man, as long as you're on planet Earth, you're going to be in the system, unless you want to live in Fiji and Puerto Rico and be in sandals and a bathing suit, and there's 3 other people in your neighborhood, and you have Wi-Fi that works half the time. But you have 100,000 Bitcoin. Well, awesome, dude. I have less than that, and I'm happier than you are. I got AC. I'm walking around. I got a car. I want to live in a civilized world. So everybody's going to get on this bandwagon once they see the returns. And Mr. Fink and the whole all of Wall Street's making it very, very easy for the very adoption that Bitcoin's been begging for They are getting ready to get adoption. So can't imagine a better time. The movie has been tested over and over. There's an audience for this movie on a recurring level, and it's 8 billion people, man. 8 billion. We've never seen a market that hits 8 bill, the whole thing. Never. That's pretty like, you can't sell credit cards to the Chinese, dude. There's no business I can get into that truly has 8 billion addressable market because I'm stopped. I'm stopped by sovereigns. I'm stopped by regulation. I'm stopped by banking rules. Bitcoin, I got a piece of 8 billion people, dude. I can participate passively or actively.
What's your thesis, Gary, on, if you have one, on real world asset tokenization? So you mentioned real estate. A lot of people don't know, but the banks and institutions have been experimenting with this for really like 5 years, but taking these illiquid assets and making them liquid on the chain in real time. What's your thought on that?
Um, I think, not to be argumentative, but I'm not sure that it's really about the liquidity piece of it. I think it's actually about the fractionization of these units. Okay, like I know everyone says, "Hey, Klaus says you will own nothing and you will be happy," right? And they kind of twist that like that's a draconian, Masonic. Hey, I'm the evil guy. Okay, maybe I don't know the guy, but what I do know is that your car sits in a garage 96% of the time. Literally, you use your car 4% of the time. That cannot possibly be good utilization, right? Of a big piece of equipment that requires a garage. The houses aren't used as effectively as they could. There's a lot of things that we buy but don't use on a regular basis, right? If you believe that we're going to digitize planet Earth, then we're going to be able to track, trace, measure, account for, and value return on investment, my energy. Like I think in the future, we're going to have robots actually transacting microtransactions for the value we bring to each other. Probably going to show up in social media too, in this new media stream where people say, like, all the media stuff I'm doing, my goal is never to have a promoter, never to have an advertiser. That you, the user, actually are willing to pay $1 to me for 20 minutes a month. Cool. Now you get to buy what you really want and you get to buy what you need. Okay. Not because it comes in a big package, right? Okay. I'm going to buy those potato chips because it's a better deal. But hey, guys, the potato chips go stale. It's too much. There's too many potato chips, right? To buy a wholesale, right? Bitcoin's a wholesale market too. That's a cool thing. You and I get to buy at the same price. We're not having to pay retail. If I wanted to go buy a fraction of gold, Valkyrie came out with this. I don't know if you know much about gold, but they got these little micro, like $10 worth of gold. That's cool. Sounds like a cool idea, dude. It's ridiculous. Okay, gold's at $2,200 today. That has a 40% premium to it. Gold has to get to $4,000 for you to make money on those little micro transactions. Why? Because that gold had to be refined into tiny little pieces, put their name on it. Bitcoin does not have that. So you're never going to pay a premium for buying 0.1 of it versus paying a premium to buy 30 of them. You in fact, might have to pay a premium for the volume versus the small fragmentation. So on tokenization of real world assets, first off, this whole tokenization on real estate has been overpromised, overpromoted, overhyped, and under freaking delivered. Okay. There is no NFT projects on scale working on real estate. Why? Because they're not fungible. Ding dongs. Come on, my property here next door, they are not fungible. Fungible means they are identical, transactable, liquid. They mean the same to everyone else. 1 crude oil equals 1 crude oil unit, right? 1 kilowatt equal 1 kilowatt. So, but imagine BlackRock having 10 million units of apartment buildings and you're renting a building. What's the big bitch with people that rent? I'm wasting my money. Okay, well, how about you come in and rent for $1,500 a month, and you get to invest some of those your excess dollars into the building, into the fraction of the building that you rent. There's a lot of value to that. First off, we have a home user, not owner, a home leaser, renter, user who owns a piece of the core product property that he's living in, she's living in. Is she going to take less or worse care of it? You give somebody an investment opportunity in their backyard, they're gonna flush their toilet, man. I think, right? So now
Yeah.
you're giving Joe Regular an opportunity. My brother's the only, and I'm not here to promote my brother at all. He's the only guy I know that's gone out and lets people buy $1,000 worth of real estate with him. 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. He doesn't care. So that's not really been available to most humans. You had to be an accredited investor to do a lot of this stuff. So I think what Think BlackRock's telling people is that we are going to digitize planet Earth because we can now. Not only does it make sense, but we can. We never had the tools to do this before. So to claim the 20th century finance is totally evil and corruptive and inefficient, I think that's all we had. We had no other options because we did not have the technology. We have the technology today to do a lot of these things we're talking about. We're in the early stages. I wouldn't necessarily go invest in some of these projects, right? That's why I like Bitcoin so much as a core thesis, because I can buy into Bitcoin and begin to understand what all the landscape of the industry is doing. How's it scaling? Who's going to be the winners, losers, et cetera. So it's going to happen. I think the question's timetable on this tokenization event.
Yeah. Strong. Well, Gary, we're getting close to time, but really insightful thoughts. Appreciate you joining.
Yeah, sorry I was late. We definitely didn't get to your list. If you guys ever want to go through the list, because I thought these were some of the best questions I've seen by interviewer. So appreciate the thought you put into it. I think they're sorry I didn't follow the script here, but I think there's some really juicy things in here about the development of the market and how you think as a contrarian, uh, or really positive things. So thank you.
Yeah, we'll set up a part two sometime.
Cool, man. Well, happy
All
Easter
right,
weekend,
Gary.
huh?
Hey, same. Talk soon.
Thank you.